I remember the fight got announced, and then I typed his name in like on YouTube to see if I could find anything,
Yeah.
and all I could pull up was like a blindfolded kickboxing match.
That wasn't him.
No, yeah, that's what I mean. So to be honest, there was really nothing I could take from that. All I could thought to myself, well, he's got a bit of kickboxing experience. He's had 5 fights.
Sure.
He's probably a well-experienced guy. He's probably gonna bring over me experience and probably again lengthy combat sports background. That's all I really knew, to be fair. And I just thought, I'm just gonna go in this and just figure it out.
Sure. And normal would have been to take a fight against a fellow debutee and not someone who was preparing for their 6th competitive fights. So just explain the thought process behind that, please, Reuben.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the thought process going back to take that fight. The thing about Jason, who he like matches most of us the fights, Jason and Mike. Jason's always had like confidence in me, even like from when I first started training. So Jason thought that, you know what, I will I'll book you in with this guy, and I believe that you can go and go and do it. So whenever Jason like believes in me and shows confidence, I know it's for good reason. So I decided, no, I'm going to take this fight, and because I think I can beat the guy. It's a tough fight, but I feel like I can beat the guy. And again, as explained, going back to my teammates, since I was like first started, I've training with like, again, I bring my teammates up, Laws, Tim, Kinney, Sedo, Steamark, Leighton, Curtis Campbell, all the Pat the Problem, Connor Hughes, all these like savages, Lefty, Mike Thompson, I'm training with all these savages, so I know I'm doing well against them, so I can go in with this guy and do well against him.
Sure. So it didn't last long, just 24 short seconds. You landed a hard right hand, which made him shoot for the single, and that was ultimately his downfall. You ended the contest with the most vicious ground and pounds. Vicious, my goodness me. Describe that euphoria of winning your first fight, and also in that fashion. And did that go even beyond your wildest dreams?
So, in terms of winning that fight, the euphoria was like amazing. I remember talking in the gym, and everyone would be like, "Oh, you'd probably be like dead stoic and dead relaxed." And then I just remember like the rush I got from winning. I just let it all out, and everyone always goes on about me and me wild celebrations. So it was just like I was made up that all my hard work and paid off.
Yeah.
In terms of how it went, so my mindset coming into the fight was, right, what I'm going to do, I want to get this guy out there in under 30 seconds. And then no disrespect to him, but if I do that, they'll get me a high level opponent. So I wanted like a harder fight next. So I set a goal to finish him in under 30 seconds. And then from there, the ground and pound, I call it Donkey Kong ground and pound, playing the drums. Well, I'm going to get this here Donkey Kong ground and pound going. And then it couldn't have went any better. And looking back on it, I'm a bit critical sometimes of myself. I thought, technically, I could have done better. Maybe I could have done this. But I know for my first fight, you're going to make those mistakes. And then as you progress in the game, you're going to correct them. But it couldn't have gone any better. I planned it to a T, and I was happy to get that finish.
Yeah. And then at the end of the fight, you called out any welterweight who fancied the challenge. I mean, who does that after their first fight?
And you know what? I think it's due to my my mindset. Like, I feel like if I've got a point to prove, I'm going to prove it. And I think my confidence just really comes from I just believe in myself, and I believe in my skill set. I think in this game, there's 3 aspects in the game you need to have. You need to be physically with your skills, mentally, and you need to get like your nutrition down. So I think with my mindset is always I've got like a lot of just believing in my skills and my game. Normally, again, like you said, for your debut fight, you wouldn't really be reserved and you really wouldn't be saying it. But
Yeah.
at the time, I thought I'm here to prove that like I'm one of the best amateur welterweights in the country, and the only way I'm going to do that is just working myself up the ladder. So my decision was that get me one of these guys, and I'm going to prove to you that I'm on their level.
Well, talking about moving up the ladder, in your third fight, you made it into the Liverpool Echo Arena versus Julian Wentworth at Cage Warriors 90. You mentioned at the start of the show you were sharing the card with the likes of Molly McCann and Paddy the Baddy. First of all, describe what that experience was like. And secondly, how did that opportunity come about?
Okay, so the experience that was it was a big experience, I think, especially in my amateur career, because honestly, what I felt, only having like 3 fights at the time, there's probably much deserving amateurs out there with bigger records who deserve to have that platform to be there. But I saw it as well as that they probably see something in me and my skills where they think, you know what, we're going to give this guy an opportunity to prove himself and show that he is ready for this stage. The whole thing was like me. I think for up on an amateur too, being on those big cards where you're seeing with the pros and seeing how big shows run, it's really good because when your time comes, when I go pro and then I've got to do them big shows myself, I've got the experience of I know what the nerves are going to be like. I know what the setup is going to be. I know how it is to be in an arena. I know what the pressure's like. So it was a big experience. Like I was only the second fight on the amateur card, so that was like quite again. It's quite an experience, and it's for me like it was like whoa. After like 3 fights, yeah. In terms of how the opportunity come about, so
Yeah.
I remember I was just training, and again Jason said, "Oh, I've got this fight for you." Because originally with that Julian, I was meant to fight Tom Clark from Hammer, and so he ended up pulling out with an injury. And then he
You've
said,
called him
and
out.
Jason,
Sorry, with Tom, you've called him out a couple of times since, haven't you?
yeah, I've called him out a couple of times since. I always seem to be calling people out and chasing fights with certain people on the scene. But they offered me, and Jason was like, "Oh, I've got this fight for you. What on Cage Warriors?" So I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." Like I didn't even ask who it was. I was just like, "Yeah,
Wow.
I'll take it." And then from there, it was just getting ready in camp and just going from there.
Perfect. And then, so coming back to the fight, he kept shooting and right from the get-go, but you were having none of it, denying him time after time. First of all, what did you make of that tactic? And secondly, is that something that you've had to learn to deal with?
So, and what have I made of that tactic? It's kind of what I expect in my fights because I think a lot of people they see me as this striker. He's got big power, and then I think the game plan that most people see with me is taking down, could try and grind them out, try and control them on the mat. So, I half expected him to do that, and it's something that I'm working on in the gym too. So it's always what I've been doing is just people shooting takedowns on me and me defending. I'm working when you've got like good wrestlers like
Yeah.
Chris Keane taking you down and looking to like give you. He's got some sick top control. So it's something I've had to adapt within the gym of getting taken down and controlled on the mat, and then just working me submissions and getting back up to my feet. So it's something that I've integrated in my overall game because I think in almost every fight I think someone's attempted a takedown on me, and I think it's when I'm in my fights, like when I when I hear people and I land them, I see they have this worried look and you either shoot for the takedown or they either cover up.
Yeah, your opponent in that fight definitely had that worried look. He did have some relative success on the feet. The difference was, however, you only needed one chance and you dropped him with your trademark right hands. What was that feeling like?
So that feeling was again, it was amazing to get like a big knockout. I mean, it landed clean too, and then I just remember seeing him go down and thinking, yes, I've got this. Because I think in the fight, what he kept doing is when I would lead with when I would go to finish with my right hand, I think he was dipping and throwing a left hook over the top, and I think he caught me with that a few times, and then I kind of read it, so I kind of read what he was doing. Like as I mentioned before, like Ross Fitzpatrick, he takes the striking sessions, and he always tells us, get the guys' defenses, get short and mid range attacks. What's the guy attacking with? And that's something I've been working on. So I seen that, and then I counted over with the right hand over the top. I think I got a bit sloppy because I didn't feel threatened, and then he was landing a few shots on me, and then I remember hearing Jason in the corner shout, get back moving. I thought, okay, let's get back on the game plan here and finish. But I just timed it perfectly, and then that was that's one of my favourite knockouts. That the counter shot over the right hand over the left hook.
Okay, and then looking at your punching power, Reuben, did you always know you could hit that hard?
You know what? I'm surprisingly no. I mean, I never
Really?
really thought. Yeah, it's a bit mad,
Wow.
but I never really thought I had any power or I could stop people. The
Wow.
main turning point of how that actually got up to improving my striking. I remember, I think it was when I fought on my second fight, I started doing like a bit of pads with Jason just to sharpen up my striking a bit. And then because I'd never really, I was like doing like Thai sessions, but I never really focused on like fundamental things and improving my striking. And I started doing a bit of pads with Jason after, and then from there, as things started developing, I started get my striking started getting progressively better. But I never really thought, or I probably thought I'm probably one of those guys that I just don't have that knockout power. But when I really started to work on it individually, it came on and it's come on leaps and bounds. So it was mad. It's a bit crazy when you first discover what knockout power. Like, whoa, I can do that. Me really? So it's quite the experience.
Nice. And then on to your full fight against Alex Bold, which
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately you lost on the judges' scorecards. First of all, did you feel it was the right decision? And if so, was there a turning point in that particular fight or anything that you would have done differently, as I had you clearly winning that first round?
You know what? In terms of decision, it was the correct decision. I feel like he did enough to win. I think I won the first one by a big margin.
Yep.
Then he won the second round, and then it came down to that first round really, where I think he just out hustled me in the scramble, and then I lost due to cage control. That fight was really it was a good blessing in disguise really, because I think I had a few quick finishes coming into that fight, and I kind of thought I could just finish everyone out, everyone in the first round. And then I think I learned, you're not going to be able to finish everyone in the first round. There are going to be some guys who can handle the onslaught and come back. And prior to that, like I hadn't really been tested. I was winning my fight, so I was mostly in control. That was a fight where I weren't really in. There was phases where I weren't in control. I was getting hit. I was getting taken down. I was getting worn out. So I think that loss made me really like reevaluate my game and think, you know what, you can't just go in there and just waste all your energy. And then if the guy's there, then what do you do?
Sure.
Because after that, I was just like, I remember in that fight, after I hit him with the knee, he got up, it was all my energy was had to take kind of like the second round off, and then I think the big turning point was in that third round. I think he threw a spinning back kick and to counter with a knee, and me for being jiu-jitsu, take the back. And he's an excellent scrambler. He
Yeah.
scrambled, got me up against the fence, and then I was just worn out then. I think because you could have made it in case of me getting a draw, but honestly, I think, you know, I wouldn't have accepted a draw. I think the loss came at the right time. Like, I needed that loss as part of like my martial arts journey, my career. So you know what, you know, there's certain guys, you know, that's not going to happen every fight. I needed that test, and I learned a lot about myself mentally too in the game. Like, how am I going to be like in the late rounds? How am I going to be like in the third round? Have I got the gas here to come out? So even though I was like very exhausted and was tired, I was still happy that I was able to make it like competitive going into the last round.
Yeah, you did. So you took a lot out that fight despite the loss.
Yeah, despite the loss, I think I took a lot out of it, and it was a good experience for me to lose that and then lose a decision. But he's since gone pro now, and he finished his amateur career 6-0. So
6-0.
It was a good 6-0, and I think he was ranked number 3 in UK of amateur welterweight. So that was a very good experience, and I also learned in that fight that I can hang with these top welterweights that I'm calling out and giving a whole load of abuse to. So I learned a lot about myself mentally. I think I grew up mentally a lot in that fight.
Wow, very mature. So would you like the rematch with Alex if the opportunity presented itself? Of course.
Of course. I've been going in that rematch for a long time. I'm sure he feels himself, well, maybe if I would have done this differently, you know, I would have smashed this kid. I would have got him out of there. I feel the same way, you know, maybe if I was had a bit more experience under my belt and was a bit more smarter, I could have got him out of there. So I know he's just started his pro career. But when I turned pro, that's a rematch seeking. I think me and him have still got like a bit of a score to settle there.
Unfinished business.
Unfinished business, yeah, of course. Because yeah, I remember. Well, I'll touch on this later, because it ties into when we're going to talk about Josh. But there's unfinished business there. I think I'd love that rematch.
Okay, and then your next 2 fights lasted a combined total of 2 minutes and 1 second, dropping both of your opponents. Which of the 2 finishes was your favourite?
Ooh, which of the 2 finishes are my favourite?
Yeah, so that was against Vasily and Josh.
Oh.
Yeah.
My favourite one, I'd say, was the Josh one, because it was just the timing to finish that was I timed that so well, and then I was made up with that. I remember I was listening back to the commentary.
The timing phenomenal, 1 and done.
Like, timing phenomenal, 1 and done. So I was happy with that. I mean, it's mad, like, watching that like I finish fights so quickly in the first round. I always, you know, I'm training for a hard 3 rounds. Yeah, I mean, if the finish comes, then perfect. But with them 2 fights, that right hand I was just happy to land that right hand and get a good win.
Sure, and I bet it made it sweeter, bearing in mind that Josh came in with such a huge reputation. I think he was he 6-1 at that time?
Yeah, so he was an absolute savage. Like, he was like 6-1. He was like destroying people in the first round. And then I remember looking at that fight and thinking, oh, I was like, I was in man, and then I was on the laptop. I think he was on Celtic Gladiators, and I was watching him. Like, they were talking about how good he was, and I could see like he subbed the guy quick. I remember thinking, you know what, I want to fight that Josh Kennedy guy. I reckon I could beat him. And then they offered me the match with him, and then at the time, because I think people weren't really wanting to fight him because, again, like I said, how good he was.
Correct.
I felt I had his number coming into that fight. I just felt like my style was going to pose a problem, and I was to get that victory over him was like, that was a big thing as a fighter, because coming off him when I fought Alex, I believe I can hang with the top guys, but this is the fight where I'm going to find out 2 lessons. Either I'm not on the level that I think I am, or I'm going to find out I'm at that level, but there's still work to be done, but I can hang with the best amateurs in the country. So I learned in that fight, you can hang with the best amateurs in the country. You're on that level. So that there was a lot going into that fight that I think if I lost would have probably been like, wow, I'm not at the level that I think I am. But my mentality was I already felt I was on that level, and to go in there and prove it was such a sweet feeling.